Hey guys, today marks the 119th day of an experiment that I ran on both Teepublic and Redbubble for brand new accounts. I'm going to kind of just go over some things with this experiment. I typically did what a normal Redbubble and Teepublic account user would do with their first year of experience. And like I said, I did a lot of things that a normal person would do when using Redbubble and Teepublic. So I do want to make this video for a learning lesson. I'm going to talk to you about the sales. I'm going to talk to you about the stats. I'm going to tell you about pretty much everything involved, how I would fix certain things, and what I would do differently. So to put things into perspective, guys, I've been doing Redbubble and Teepublic and print on demand and really all these different platforms for a really long time now. And I can't make a video saying, my first 100-day experience on these platforms because I've had thousands of days on these platforms now. But what I did wanted to do is I wanted to run an experiment. I wanted to test different things, and I wanted to see how good would my skills be without any kind of help, without any kind of softwares, without any kind of products, without any kind of help, really. For those who don't know, I use pretty much all the bots and apps. I don't want to say pretty much all because there's some that I don't use. But as far as tools like the Redbubble Favorite Automator, Redbubble Rocket Tagger, Teepublic Tag Optimizer, Zazzle, things like this. If you've seen my YouTube channel, you know what tools I use. You know what tools I don't use. I went over this stuff pretty significantly in the past. This website is one of the websites that kind of helped me with the print-on-demand stuff. I also have virtual assistants. I created, like I said, so I'll give you some stats. I created a Redbubble account, and I created a Teepublic account prior to January 1st, okay? I started publishing on these accounts also prior to January 1st, but like only a week and a half prior to. On January 12th, okay, the Teepublic account became on the public marketplace. And on January 2nd, the Redbubble account was on the public marketplace. So roughly between both accounts, we're looking at public access, okay, to these accounts via search. Now, I kind of want to go explain the process behind both of them, what kind of happened, and what I was actually trying to accomplish. As far as what I was trying to accomplish, I wanted to simulate and see how are regular sellers faring out? How are they making out in these new markets? Part of the reason why I have such a benefit and I make a lot more money than the average person on Redbubble and Teepublic is firstly because my accounts have been around for a long time, but also secondly because I use a lot of steroids in the business. And what do I mean by steroids? I mean the tools. Frankly, a lot of people don't use them. Like for example, Teepublic Tag Optimizer. I'm going to be using a tag tool to help me get the very best results out of tagging properly on Teepublic so I can get more sales. I'll say that the results, I can say, kind of showed themselves compared to most people. So I'll kind of share where things went, okay? I'll kind of explain. For this experiment, though, however, I did not use any tools. Like I said, I kind of wanted to simulate what a beginner would do. On top of what simulating what a beginner would do without using any kind of tools, because let's face it, beginners don't use tools. They usually keep their investment as very low as possible, if any. So I really didn't do any investment. All I used was Canva, okay, to create the designs. That's it for these accounts. I also infringed on certain products. Now, some of you are saying, whoa, you infringed? That's illegal. You did something illegal? And I absolutely I did. Why did I do that? Once again, I am simulating what a normal Redbubble or Teepublic user would probably do in their first few months of uploading to the accounts. The only thing that I did not do is I didn't tag spam. I didn't use garbage titles. What I did was I literally used my experience, but I also kind of put myself in a beginner's shoes. Now, when I say infringed, what does that mean? On my Redbubble account, and I have this all written down, I have 164 designs. 24 out of those designs were infringing designs. So, designs on things that I do not have the rights to, okay? I'm not going to be specific as to what they are, but because I don't want to encourage anyone to infringe. But yes, I did infringe. And like I said, I'm trying to simulate what other people normally do. So there you go. 24 designs are infringing. On my Teepublic account, I have a total of 243 designs, and 39 of them were infringing. Okay, so 39 were infringing. And I think that's like a fair number. I just tried to assume, what are beginners probably doing? They're probably doing some infringing. They're definitely doing some tag spamming and things like that. So I tried to implement certain things like this. Now, once again, the only difference in my situation is that I chose not to tag spam, and I chose to use my own experience, right? Because there's no point of me just, uploading like a normal person would. Plus, no offense, I can't actually do that. I have a certain system that I use for tagging. I have a certain strategy. I just made sure I didn't use any tools or any software. So I didn't use any kind of tools here, all right? Now, let's talk about the results here. As far as the Redbubble tool, not the Redbubble tool, the Redbubble account, we had a total of 165 sales. So we had one more sale than the amount of designs I actually had. So let me go here to Redbubble just for the sake of the conversation. We had, like I said, a total of 164 uploads. And out of those 164 uploads registered today, we actually had a sale today, a total of 165 sales total, okay? Now, keep in mind, today is April 28th of 2024. This is day 119 of the year. So we've been 119 days into the game, all right? Which, honestly, for a beginner, I think is well above average. I don't think most people operate on that kind of level. Now, I will kind of talk about what would happen if I used the tools and how the results would kind of accumulate much differently. Okay, so I'll kind of talk about that in just a minute. But let me give you the stats for the Teepublic store. So the Teepublic store had a total of 243 designs. Okay, and once again, I'm looking on the paper in front of me. And we had a total of 95 sales. So I had less sales on Teepublic than I did on Redbubble by a very significant amount. In fact, if I do the math, what's 165 minus 95? Let's find out. Let's see here. Calculator. Where is this? Where is 165 minus 95? 70? Is that right? 70? Okay, there we go. 70. In terms of the money that I made on Teepublic, it added up to, the 95 sales, added up to $215.50. Okay, so not bad. I didn't add up the Redbubble numbers. It is what it is. So there you go. You have the stats. All right. Now, let's go ahead and kind of go over this. Once again, the whole premise of this. I did infringe on these two accounts on purpose. Okay, so it's not like it's not like I did it by mistake. Trust me, I knew exactly what I was doing, and I did that for a reason. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to put myself in the shoes of a normal uploader in the modern day. The normal uploader, let's face it, they're not going to have as much experience, if any. Okay, they will probably do some infringing here and there. Maybe not all their work is infringing, but they'll definitely have some infringing work. And they're going to probably tag spam and title like not that well, things like that. All right. Like I said, the only difference is I was using my own experience to make things better. Now, let's talk about Redbubble for a second. If I did things differently, which I will do things differently now that I have this experiment completed, because I'm not going to waste a Redbubble account. I might as well use it. Hold on, let me go ahead and blow my nose real quick. I'm just going to pause this. Just give me a second. All right, I'm back, guys. So you guys probably didn't notice the pause, but I had to pause. Anyways, so if I was to do things differently, all right, if I wanted maximum growth, which this is pretty much advice to everybody whose sales are lacking on Redbubble, other than obviously getting better at titling, getting better at tagging, because you could say that, but really, what does that mean? You need to take courses, you need to learn certain things, so I'm not going to go through that all that right now. But what would I do differently? Immediately it would hop on all tools related to Redbubble. Let me explain. And I'll kind of explain the difference in sales of what I would expect. All right. So the first thing I would do is on the Redbubble account, I would make sure it's niche singular. Okay. So I would not upload to multiple niches, which is, by the way, something I did not do for this Redbubble store. This Redbubble store had maybe a mix of 3 or 4 niches. Same thing with the Teepublic store, by the way. It had a few niches here and there. So do I recommend doing that? No. I recommend going niche singular. Why? The reason why is because I want to implement the use of social media. I can't implement the use of social media unless there's only one singular niche that I'm going to promote. Let me kind of explain. So if you look here you have the tool, the follow, unfollow automator, the like automator, the comment automator for Instagram. If I create an Instagram account as an example, right? If I post pictures of puppies, let's just say, right, and I'm selling puppy merchandise, well, I'm going to sell puppy merchandise. But then if a week later, after I post 30 different pictures of puppies and all this kind of stuff, a week later I start posting pictures of mansions and houses, and then I start selling mansion type merchandise and motivational business type type of merch, I'm not going to have a correlation of sales there. In fact, my sales would probably drop. Why? Not probably, guaranteed. Why? It's because the people who are specifically looking for puppy merchandise, 99% of the time are not looking for business, motivational merchandise. Now, some people might say, well, the person who likes puppies might also do business as well. And the answer is yes, that's true. But that doesn't mean they're in the market to purchase for something like that. So in the niche of why we talk about, or why I specifically talk about, I don't know who else, makes videos out there about this kind of stuff. But what I specifically talk about when I say only one niche with smaller sub-niches for the Redbubble account is so that you can actually use the whole purpose of social media. Because if you're not using social media, then you're cutting yourself short. Now, let's talk about how many sales that I would actually expect if I was consistent with the social media. Now, put things into perspective. This Redbubble account had 0 social media promotion. 0. Now, that's not going to happen anymore, but it had 0. So how many sales would I have likely predicted if I had used social media? The account had 165 sales without social media. If I was to use just social media as a benefit, I believe those 165 would easily, and I'm being conservative here. I'm not being exaggerative. I'm being conservative. I would say about 550 sales if I was to be conservative, okay? And we're talking about using social media properly. All right, guys. So once again, singular niche, posting a mix between the sales and the promotional type content, using the right tags, uploading multiple times a day on social media, things like that, using the automation tools to grow the following. So around the 550 mark. If I then used proper tags using the tool, I'm going to say maybe I could have squeezed in another 120, 140 sales maybe. Now, once again, the reason why this number is kind of short is because I already have experience coming into this. I have years of experience uploading to Redbubble coming into this. So this is not something that I would say is typical. If somebody's using the Redbubble tagging tool and they're using it for the first time, the results are going to be dramatic compared to what they normally would have done. So let's say it's a complete amateur and they would have normally had 10 sales, and then with the tagging tool, right, off of a 165 design account or 164 design account, let's say they normally would have had 10 sales, maybe they would have had 60, 40, 90 sales with the tagging tool if they didn't have any experience prior. I'm only adding like 100 something because I already have the experience, and we're talking about 100 something on top of the Instagram promotion, because a lot of people don't realize when you promote via or anything, if you really just promote those designs and you get sales artificially, right, through your own promotion, which is artificial technically because you're not using the algorithm, that design is going to move up into the algorithm, which is going to create organic sales. This is why I say it's crucially important to use the whole social media thing, right? Anyways, So what's next? The Redbubble Favor Automator, I would say no more than 10% of the sales, which is this tool right here, would add on top of that. So maybe I would have been able to squeeze in, actually probably less because it's only been about 3 months, 119 days. So I would say maybe an extra 35 sales, So the difference between the non-investment and the investment side is very significant. If I invested in the tools, right, like here, here, and then actually doing the work with it, it's not like you could just buy the tools and sit back. You got to actually do the work. If I was to actually sit there and invest the time and effort and the energy and the resources into the tools, instead of having 165 sales, I could have had, let's do the math, 165 plus 35 plus, what did I say earlier? I said about 550 plus, I don't know, let's throw another 30 on there, or 40. About 780 sales. Now, that's an estimation, all right? That's an estimation. Something that I do want to state, though, okay, that even though that's a huge difference, the infringing designs rarely ever made any sales. I think out of all 165 sales, I think I might have had 3 sales on the infringing designs for the Redbubble account. So on the Redbubble side of things, there was almost no sales from the infringing side. So that's kind of a bonus, I guess. Excuse me, let me fix what I just said. About 3 units sold, not 3 sales. Maybe about 8 sales total, but 3 units, 3 designs sold. I want to be a little bit specific there, okay? So that's that. So that's the Redbubble side of things. Let's go to the Teepublic. So the Teepublic, and once again, I'm looking on my page here, I made a total of $215.50 off of 95 designs sold, or 95 units sold, whatever you want to call it, or 95 orders, whatever the metric is on Teepublic. All right. Now, if I had used the Teepublic tag tool, which I believe is the only tool they really have for Teepublic, I would say I would have been able to, I don't know, maybe a little bit more than double, maybe less, plus or minus 10% of double. So what's double of 95? What's double of 215? Let's talk cash here. Double of 215 is, what is that, 430, I think? 430, let me see. Times 2, yeah, 430. Let's say plus or minus 10%. So what's 10% of 430? And we're giving rough estimations here, guys. Rough estimations based on my experience. Plus 43, let's see, that's 473. 473 is the high. And then if we take let's just subtract 60, 70. Let's go 70. Let's be ultra conservative just in case. 543. Wait, did I even do this? Hold on. 215, that's 430. 430, 10% of 430 is 43. So 430 plus 43, that's on the high end. And then 430 minus 43, and that's 387. So anywhere from 387 to 460, whatever, right? So that's kind of the number that I would say where my sales would have been had I used the Teepublic tag tool. As far as the Instagram also plays a huge part, which, you could do the same thing with Twitter, by the way. They have Twitter tools. If you want to use Twitter, go ahead and use it. You could do the same thing with Pinterest. I'm just using Instagram as the example because most people who decide to use the social media marketing go to Instagram. The numbers will differ, however, if you use Twitter or if you use Pinterest. I just want to put that out there as well. So, let's just use Instagram only here in this circumstance. For Instagram on Teepublic, I really wouldn't say it would do as such a strong effect as Redbubble. But I would say probably maybe another 55% on top of what it already is. So I would take 0.55. And mind you, because it's only 3 months that we've been doing it so far. If I was doing it for a year or two, it'd probably be more than that because the sales compound, you move up the algorithm. There's a lot more benefit to it. But 3 months is really a short period, very, very short period of time to run an experiment. But anyways, 0.55 times the 430, let's just use the 430 as the base. You're looking at an extra 236. So, there you go. You kind of get the numbers. And in terms of the Teepublic designs, however, the infringing ones sold a lot more than the Redbubble ones. So, I mean, you can kind of look at that as a positive example, right? And I could see why that's the case. I think it's because, Teepublic is a kind of a controlled platform. A lot of even though there is infringing on Teepublic, a lot of the infringing kind of content is set to a minimum because of the type of people that are even allowing. And when I say set to a minimum, I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm saying it's set to a minimum in comparison to that of Redbubble. Like if I get a designer and I put them on both Teepublic and I put them on Redbubble and I tell them, hey, observe what you see, they're probably going to report a lot more infringing on Redbubble than that of Teepublic. However, the infringing on Teepublic still exists. So does Redbubble. Redbubble is just more than Teepublic, respectively, because it's a larger platform and because there used to be a lot less control. Okay? So this experiment, like I said, ranged for 119 days. I could have easily just not even talked about this experiment, took the information, walked away with it. But I figured I'd post it. It's not the most flattering numbers, but once again, I was comparing to a seller that would have absolutely no resources and literally just using Canva to create designs, which I really don't recommend. If you're going to take print on demand seriously, you might as well go all in. I mean, that's really the whole idea. I mean, to get the best result out of it, and you got to do it for a longer period of time. Like 3 months is just not enough. If somebody was here asking me like, oh, how long do you think I should do print on demand before I quit? If you went all in, you wouldn't need to quit. It would just keep producing for you. You wouldn't need to quit. Like I got a message the other day, or it was actually today. It was today. Somebody was messaging me and they said, I've been doing it for 3 months. I have 0 sales. I closed down the store. What should I do? I mean, what advice can I really give? I mean, if you close down your store because you got no sales in 3 months, what can I say? Go back to it? I mean, you closed it down yourself. There's nothing I could say to really help you in that circumstance. I mean, what can I say? So the reality is that, like I said, these sales could have been a lot higher had I applied the tools and the resource and the investment. I didn't, because that's the whole point of the experiment. Am I going to still use these accounts and sell on them? Absolutely. If people are curious and they're going to ask me, hey, are you going to delete those infringing designs? No, I'm not going to delete them. Why? They already exist. What's the point in deleting them if they didn't get banned? It's just part of the game. It is what it is. Trust me, infringing designs is really, I don't want to say it's not that big of a deal. It matters, of course, but the platform, the Redbubble platform, the Teepublic platform, it's their responsibility to handle those kind of things. And I'm not saying it's a positive thing. Obviously, if you're watching this, I don't recommend you infringe. You know what I'm saying? There are certain ways you can go around it and not fully screw yourself when infringing. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and give anybody bad advice and say, go infringe. That's not a good idea. Once again, I was just simply replicating what usually happens when somebody is creating a new store for the first time with absolutely zero experience. And I think it was a good experiment, but do I think it's worth the investment to go after the tools and things like this? I think absolutely. I mean, you're going to lap the competitors, which is what I do on a consistent basis. And on top of that, if you're anything like me and you have bad spelling, bad grammar, things like that, that actually helps, because for me, if I'm going to write a tag of a certain keyword, number one, I want to do it quickly. Number two, I want to do it properly, and I want to be as accurate as possible. If I'm writing a tag of a certain word and I don't know how to spell it because I'm dyslexic, I write stuff wrong, I'm just screwing myself at the end of the day. I'm working for absolutely no reason, which is also why I give the tools to the virtual assistants. I spoke about this before, but my virtual assistants have these tools. Why do they have the tools? Because English is not their first language. So when they find these tags, all they're doing is copy and pasting. They're not writing from their mind what they think, which is a whole different scenario. But I'll leave Bots and Apps link in the description. I am an affiliate. I'll leave that description. But hopefully you guys like this experiment, the little data that I provided. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out. Bye.